Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for November 3rd, 2024. It's Season 3, Episode 308. I am Mayor Watt, and along with the sentient AI from the future, we're going to talk about a job only a robot could love, full accountability from Dropbox CEO, Stop Killing Games, EA Edition, Misled Drivers delivered by Lyft, Tire Trickery, Stratosphere-based internet, hidden in Arabian Oasis, staff-delivered request, NASA cutting-edge space experiments, and a visual delight at a Seattle office building? I have no idea. Everything's powered by ohmtown.com. Go over there and become a citizen. Be sure to like us and subscribe to us and follow us on Twitch. Like and subscribe and leave a comment and tell a friend over on YouTube. Where else? Patreon, Discord. There are podcasts, over 1,400 episodes of podcasts now. Go check it all out. We're everywhere. But all of the news is aggregated into ohmtown.com. All of the noise is aggregated into this stream. See you on the other side of our intro. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, hometown citizens.
See, I can't tell now if there's an echo anymore. There was an echo that only appeared at the end of 5 hours of streaming yesterday. Anyway, not going to worry about it. Let's get into the 10 articles that we've already selected. Let's go. So the first article is over in Technology Today. A robot retrieves the first melted fuel from Fukushima nuclear reactor, which is awesome. A remote-controlled robot has safely returned with a tiny piece of melted fuel it collected from inside one of the 3 damaged reactors at the tsunami-hit Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant for the first time since the 2011 meltdown.
Isn't this insane? This is, 13 years later?
13. Oh my gosh. Oh, that just reminded me of something. Okay. Well, Mary Yamaguchi over at techexplorer.com put this article together. I cannot believe that it's been 13 years. So a device to remove debris from a reactor at the damaged Fukushima nuclear power plant. I guess there's whatever techexplorer.com does this fog of war when you mouse over stuff. There's a couple of other sites that do this. I really wish they wouldn't, but apparently this is like a pincer, and it's picked up a piece of stone here, but it's gonna actually, or it has already gone and picked up whatever it's gonna pick up. Tokyo Electric Power Company Holdings, which manages the plant, said Saturday that the extendable fishing rod-like robot successfully clipped a gravel. My brain went straight to cryptographic because clipped a gravel.
I'm not sure how you got that, but okay.
Clipped a gravel as big as 5 millimeters or 2 inches, the size of a tiny granola bit. Who has a tiny granola bit that's 2 inches? The hell?
Yeah, that would be a good-sized piece of granola.
That's a granola rock. That's a felony if you get hit by it. Anyway, from the top surface of a mound of molten fuel debris that sits on the bottom of number 2 reactor's primary containment vessel. So the Telesco robot with its frontal tongs. There's so much verbiage in this that's just making me go. Full frontal tongs, still holding the melted fuel bit, returned to the enclosed container for safe storage after workers in full hazmat gear pulled it out of the containment vessel earlier Saturday. So the sample return marks the first time that melted fuel is retrieved out of the containment vessel, but the mission is not over until it's certain that the sample's radioactivity radioactivity. Radioactivity is below a set standard and safely placed into a container. So they have to go and get this fuel, and there's a bunch of other stuff that's made radioactive because of the fuel, but the fuel is the most dangerous because it's emitting ionizing radiation. And so that's what ends up killing people and irradiating the debris around it. So you got to scoop it up, put it in a container that can withstand that level of radiation, and then dispose of it somewhere. I'm sure there's somebody out there that's going to scream, just shoot it off into the sun. No. You don't.
Oh, right. Yeah, I'm sure there would be some really good ideas for it, but hopefully somebody smart will do something with it.
Just don't get Boeing to do it. Fukushima Daiichi lost its cool cooling systems during the 2011 earthquake and tsunami, causing meltdowns in its 3 reactors. An estimated 880 tons of fatally radioactive molten fuel remains in them. 880 tons, and they just picked up a 2-inch piece of it.
A piece of granola at that.
Apparently toxic granola. That is a... Wait, what did they called? What did they refer to it as? A tiny granola bit. That 2 inches, again, is not a tiny granola bit. It's the full
it'd be
width.
Like part of a granola bar or something.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Get out of my head. Is this what you do because you're air gapped and you're only able to stay inside ohmTown? Do you use some of the equipment in ohmTown to tap into my brain, and now you know what I'm going to say?
No, we just have a connection.
So, Plant Chief Akira Ono said only the tiny speck can provide key data to plan decommissioning strategy, develop necessary technologies and robots, and retroactively learn how the accident had developed. I don't know how you can retroactively. You're learning how the accident developed, but you're not retroactively doing jack shit.
Right, you're not going to learn something before it happens, for instance. Well,
you're
not going to learn how something happened before it happened. Right, unless you have a time machine.
Time machine. Maybe that's what's going on here. They are going to peel back 2-inch layers of radioactive granola, and eventually there's going to be a black hole in there, and they're going to be able to go step through it, just like we do, which is what I'm going to end up doing with the other 3 shows tonight. Going to step back in time and do time machine episodes. Anyway, so no specific plans for the full removal of the fuel debris or its final disposal have been decided. Just push it off into the ocean. That's what everybody else is doing.
No, don't.
What?
No, that's what Japan is doing.
What? Just the water. A little bit of irradiated fish aren't bad. Come on. Plus, it makes it really easy to walk around at night because everybody's glowing, right?
Yeah, we already talked about that in a previous episode.
Nobody needs those little lanterns because they can just walk around. They concentrate and squint really hard. Maybe they can shoot beams of light out of their eyes. I don't know. Moving on. Next article is over in Mobile. Dropbox CEO, quote unquote, takes full accountability as he fires 500 people.
And not himself, I'm guessing.
Oh, man, you see the sails behind me? No, you don't. Why? Because you took the wind out of them. Yeah, that's how I feel about this. I wonder if they fired themselves. No, they probably did a full accounting and found themselves not guilty of their own wrongdoing. So CEO Drew Houston will remain in their job. Phew, man, I was really suspecting that they were going to fire themselves to save 500 people and their families' income. But no. Broseph here, Thomas Maxwell over at Gizmodo.com put the article together, and Dropbox CEO says that he's taking full accountability after laying off 500 people, probably via basically, the terms of employment are, as long as you have access to your own professional Dropbox, then you are employed. So people would log in the morning and find out that they didn't have a job because their Dropbox was canceled.
Oh, I hope not. That would be awful.
He is, as far as anyone can tell, remaining on as CEO and continues to hold a multiple billion-dollar ownership stake in the cloud storage company because, damn it, they've earned it. You know, they work hard to underpay people and fire them when the runway gets too short. And all that risk. This is the conversation that I get into with a lot of entrepreneurs, by the way. Well, I should be able to reap the rewards of my entrepreneurial spirit. I'm just hiring people. Well, yeah, sure. But when times get tough, it should be tough.
Don't they help you get there?
Yeah, but you have to be you have to kind of really lean into the sociopathy, you know? You have to really be an uncaring shit and go, hey, you know what? My margins are like 75. By the way, I just read about, and I watched some videos about a company, and I won't get into the company yet because I don't know what the disposition is, and you need a non-disclosure agreement to actually get the books on the thing, but it's a company that's up for auction. They have a club, and a byproduct of the club is an alcohol. I'll just say that. We'll just leave it at that. Okay. The margin for this company is 75%.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, but they're going through a nasty divorce, and by decree, they are forced to auction off this company. Yeah, I guess it's nasty.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So when times are tough, you really should be taking it to the chin, even as CEO, founder, etc. Why? Because it's you. Keep these people employed and let them actually survive through at least winter.
Yeah,
When's a
exactly.
good time? This company is not about to fail. No, it's just less attractive to investors, and that is the problem. And I'm seeing it more and more that there are people that are going, the problem here are investors, because this could have been an ongoing concern if it would have just ramped up slowly and grew over time. But no, that's not what happens.
That's not what happens with any of these.
No. Oh, and so anybody knows, I cut my teeth in the startup community. I've started up businesses. I've either sold them or closed them, but I did not risk my employees' future on what an investor was going to dictate to me. No, that's not how it works. Not everybody is a sociopath, though. So, you know, I won't fire people because my margin wasn't 45%. And I'm willing to bet that the margin is huge for Dropbox. Because it's a sunk cost. Once you have the storage, you're done. There's a whole lot of administrivia, but as long as you're not a dipshit about it, then your system should be working frictionless. Plus, it's Dropbox. You put files in, you take files out, you restore files when somebody's a numbnuts in the enterprise side and delete something and you have to recover it or something like that. But for the most part, Dropbox is just kind of picking its nose. Selling your data, by the way, probably, I'm sure. Not your data, but your metadata. It's anonymized. Oh, never mind. Anyway, employees affected by the cuts will receive a minimum of 16 weeks pay, and their stock grants for Q4 will vest. So at least they'll be able to bow out gracefully.
Okay, that's something.
Yep. They can also keep their work computers. Nice. My work computer happens to be a supercomputer, so thank you very much. Dropbox cut 16% of its staff in 2023 amid a wave of cuts across the industry following years of overgrowth. Yeah, irrational exuberance. That's what it is.
Right. They weren't looking ahead, and they were only going, everybody's online because it's a pandemic, but this is not going to last.
Yeah, so everybody's really happy about boom, but bust, everybody else is going to take one. Anyway, revenue growth has been slow at Dropbox, in the single digits more recently. If you would have grown slowly and not had a bunch of investors and blah, blah, blah. But you can't go big or go home if you don't get investors. Then somebody else will come out of the woodwork and do it better than you. So you have to hit the ground running fast, hard, go, go, go. Anyway, to be sure, it has a market value of over $8 billion. That's impressive, but not the level of home run that investors, employees hope. See, they're talking about it. Hope when you sign up to join a fast-growing tech company. Dropbox's stock is down 10% in 2024. Looks pretty bad for the company, but it's almost a death spiral as you fire 500 people at a tranche. How many people are actually there? I don't know. Houston, as a co-founder of Dropbox, holds about 20% of the equity in the company and can't so easily be removed. They're talking about various things in this. The most notable recent example is perhaps that Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella asked the company's board to reduce his pay in light of the major CrowdStrike hack.
So this was at Microsoft.
Right.
They're talking about CEO accountability.
Right. That's accountability. So what is this person actually going to do? They don't seem to say anything, right?
Isn't that the point of the article? There's no accountability.
Yeah. So it's hard for a company like Dropbox to compete against the big guys, but it's been investing in its Dash AI search tool that's supposed to make it easy for search across various productivity apps. Dropbox is a Dropbox. Why don't you do that well?
I mean, why don't they stick to their core business?
Because there's nothing defensible. Yeah, maybe there's something engineering-wise that can be patented, but there's myriad way to do whatever Dropbox is doing. I can spin up a Dropbox overnight. I don't have the marketing push to gather massive amounts of investment and people.
It might have been unique when it first started. Now I don't think it is.
But just like, windmills and stuff like that, there's zero defensibility. There's zero ability to protect your IP because there's countless ways to kind of injure this company just by anybody can spin up their own Dropbox right now. You can spin up your own Dropbox. That's the amazing thing about this. By the way, if you want all of today's show notes, you can just hit !NSN over in Twitch chat. Omatron sits in chat and you can do this anytime, even when we're offline. If you go into the chat and hit ! Show notes, you'll get all of the show notes. If you hit ! Pod, you'll get all the podcasts, links to the podcasts. We've got 7 combined, over 1,400 episodes, coming up on 1,500, I think. It's kind of scary. Doing a lot, folks. Anyway.
Gotta keep up.
No, you have to go back and watch all 1,400, like and subscribe, and leave a comment and tell a friend. And
oh, we did go over 1,500.
Oh, goodness. I was sleep streaming and must have posted them.
You weren't counting.
Nope. So this next article is over on Warcrafters. 7 EA games are shutting down on January 29th, 2025. Stop killing games. EA has updated its list of games shutting down in 2025 with 7 more titles added to the chopping block. EA keeps a running list of games it plans on giving you the bird for. Thank you for the money. You don't get the service. With a total of 9 games already confirmed to be ceasing operations. Games should not be a service.
No, they really shouldn't. And the fact that they have to keep a list of games that are shutting down is kind of...
Did you mute yourself before you finished that sentence?
I think I did. That would be concerning, not concern.
Concern. All right. Well, the article is over at GameRant.com. Dalton Cooper. Just messing with you, AI. Just messing with you. Because the music stopped. The music stopped, and I stopped right at the same time, so it made it sound like I muted. No, that's not what's happening. Anyway, Dalton Cooper over at GameRant.com put the article together. First, EA confirmed that Simpsons Tapped Out would be shutting down on January 24th, with the game delisted on October 31st. Then it was confirmed that Rory McIlroy PGA Tour would be shutting down on January 16th, rendering its online features completely unavailable. This is what I'm talking about. I don't care that they kill a game and they stop selling it. Fine. You don't need to do that because it can sit in Steam in perpetuity. All you have to do is babysit it so that if a security issue pops up, but give us the freaking servers. Let us run it when y'all don't have the stones to run it anymore. You don't have the ambition, drive, motivation, care, or financial oomph to maintain it. Let the community maintain it. There are millions of people out there combined that will run hundreds of thousands of servers so that you don't have to because y'all are greedy bastards. You're making billions. Let the community drive its own bus wherever it wants to drive it.
And if it can't manage, then don't put as many games out to begin with.
Right. Yeah. Well, they're not happy with just a steady trickle of $1 billion a year. They have to binge and purge, just like so many employees at Dropbox and others. I mean, some people, tens of thousands of people have been fired.
We've seen just multiple tech companies shedding workers over the last 12 months or so.
That's right. You know, if I move really fast across the screen, I look like a desert panorama. Are there horses on my shirt?
I don't know.
Sorry. It is non sequitur news, so we sometimes just wander off the trail. So what else is going to get delisted? So Rory McIlroy PGA Tour on January 16th. The Simpsons Tapped Out on January 24th. Blood and Glory Immortals on Apple and Google. Immortals on Apple and Google? That's a weird name. Just kidding. January 29th. Contract Killer Sniper. January 29th. Deer Hunter Classic. January 29th.
You know what? What is happening on January 29th?
Maybe it's the end of their fiscal year?
Is it the end of the quarter or something? Yeah, something is going on. That seems a little odd. Or they're going to merge or something.
It's the posting of the financials and...
Yeah, the quarterly or annual results.
Yeah. Eternity Warriors 4, Frontline Commando 2, and Frontline Commando D-Day. Yeah, and then there's others apparently that are doing a list of EA games shutting down in 2025 will only grow as time goes on. In the meantime, there are EA games shutting down in 2024 that fans need to be aware of as well. FIFA 22 is basically like The Crew. They're killing a part of it.
That's tomorrow, so go play it now if you're a fan.
Yeah, shutting down on November 4th. While Battlefield 3 is shutting down on November 7th. PS3 and Xbox 360 versions of Battlefield 4 and Battlefield Hardline are shutting down on November 7th. Yeah. All right, let's keep moving. Next article is over on the Model Channel. Lyft settles with the the Justice Department over claim it misled drivers about potential earnings. That's right, folks. You too can be a billionaire. But that's a lie.
Yeah, if you drive around the clock, and you still can.
During the pandemic, Lyft told drivers in some cities that they could make over $40 an hour. The Justice Department argued only the most hardcore drivers could make that much. That's what competition is, though. So you really have to go in eyes wide open. If anybody thinks that everybody can make $40 an hour, you're out of your freaking gourd. There isn't enough people moving from point A to point B, particularly in the face of surge charges.
Right. I mean, I think you have the most potential if you're in a busy city, but also if you're only doing like one drive a day or something, you're probably not going to average out to that unless you really luck out on a particular route.
Yeah, it's a really good hour. And so you make $40 that 1 hour. It's $40 per hour, but you're only going to do that 1 hour out of the day. That would be funny. So during the pandemic, Lyft told drivers that in some cities you'll make over $40 an hour. But competition, with every marketing push that Lyft did, or Uber, or whoever else, the number of competitors for those customers grew. So
that's true. Every time more people joined on as drivers, the rates probably went down because the number of customers probably didn't go up.
right, it's the same number of customers or less because people weren't driving, right? Weren't traveling, weren't going anywhere. So you actually ended up with less. Well, Thomas Maxwell over at Gizmodo.com put the article together. But we know empirically that there are some people that are making $150,000 a year, but they bust their hump working.
And there's others making quite a bit less.
I would hazard a guess that most are making, less than $10,000 a year. Crux of the case, between April 2021 and June 2022, Lyft advertised potential earnings of $40 per hour in cities including San Francisco and Boston, and more than $30 an hour in Atlanta and Dallas. The Justice Department, however, found that figure was based on earnings of the top 20% of drivers. But that's what this is marketing. It's the Subway of Lyft, of driving.
Yeah, it is. Like if it said something like our top driver makes whatever,
$40 an hour,
then okay. I mean, it still would imply to somebody they could get there, but this makes people think that they can do that and they might not be able to get there.
So I really want to know what the drop off is. The bottom 80.
Well, that's true, right? Like if the top 20 are at whatever, 40 or 30 bucks an hour, is the next batch at like
29, 25? Right. Or is it?
Those are not too bad, but if it's significantly dropped off, then, I mean, there's some people that say that it costs more to operate and gas up their car than to drive, or than the earnings they make.
Yeah, exactly. And you have to do a lot of babysitting because you're basically a private contractor. You have to do all of the maintenance on your car. You have to do all of the taxes, and you have to maintain all of that because nobody else is doing it for you. And you really should find an accountant that understands what Lyft and Uber are. Start up a company so that you can write all of this stuff off. Sole proprietorship is going to be a whole lot harder, so spin up an LLC. Anyway, $2.1 million isn't a lot of money for a tech company, but Lyft isn't doing super well these days. They talk about this. Some might disagree Lyft did anything wrong, but the company says that it already changed its practices since the lawsuit was filed and decided that it was best to just settle. That $2.1 million isn't a lot of money for a tech company, but Lyft isn't doing super well these days compared to its rival, Uber. Lyft stuck largely to ride-hailing and its micro-mobility division, including City Bike in New York City. That decision hurt it tremendously during the pandemic. Uber's market cap today is $153 billion, while Lyft is just $5 billion.
I think Uber is a lot more prevalent and well-known. I don't know that the service is really any better or worse across the companies, but
there's actually tiers of Ubers, by the way. So I don't know about Lyft. I think I've used Lyft once, and it was on par with your standard city cab kind of a thing. But the Ubers that I've been in have been takes a village.
A variety.
Of
experiences, I would guess.
A plethora. So the company hired CEO David Risher to try and turn things around, but the stock is down 2% year to date. So whoops. I guess they need a lift.
That CEO's days are numbered.
They need...
I don't think they want a Lyft. That's their competitor.
They need a lift. No, this is about Lyft. Yeah, Uber is the competitor. This article is about Lyft. So.
Oh, okay. I thought that was a reference to Uber. Sorry.
Yeah, so Uber and Lyft, to a lesser extent, have been able to reach profitability by cutting costs and, to the chagrin of riders, raising prices. So, yeah, witness surge pricing, where you could quarter the cost by walking a block away. That one was interesting. Anyway, let's keep going. Moving on. as fast as the McLaren F1 team that was accused of tire trickery at the Brazilian Grand Prix by rival. Red Bull Racing has accused the McLaren F1 team of manipulating tire temperatures by allegedly filling their tires with water.
Is that even, well, I'm sure it's not allowed, but is it safe for driving?
I don't see how this would actually be a good thing because water is rather unpredictable, and it's going to convert from liquid to gas if the tires get hot enough to boil, which that isn't going to really happen, but it could still off gas. That would change the tire pressure, but it would still heat up rather quickly unless the tires were filled entirely and then swapped out periodically with cold water.
This is really interesting.
So now I'm really curious. It says the allegations against McLaren will stir considerable discourse. Tire management forms a critical component of the regulation set up by FIA. Meticulously overseen by Pirelli, the exclusive tire provider. According to the German outlet, McLaren is adding water to the tires via the valves, aiding in maintaining an optimal tire temperature during race and qualifying conditions. It says it's not the first time this season that McLaren has faced technical scrutiny. Earlier in 2024, the team was accused by Red Bull again, of using an illegally flexible rear wing. I hate it when my rear wing is flexible. I like a little point there. Anyway, however, thorough investigation by the FIA, Formula One's regulatory body, found Red Bull's vehicle design to be compliant. Not just pliant, but compliant. Get it? Flexible wing, pliant.
No, but that was about the underbody. That was a separate complaint against Red Bull.
Oh, yeah. So leading to a formal investigation and subsequent necessary design changes for the Woking outfit, which is the McLaren
So that one
team.
was
So
a problem.
that one, apparently was a problem. But the other one was McLaren against Red Bull, and they said that Red Bull's vehicle was compliant, so stuff it, McLaren. Anyway, this back and forth. Please.
They must be strong competitors.
Yep. The timing of these accusations is important given the tightly contested constructors and drivers championships of the 2024 season. McLaren boasting commendable performances from its drivers, Lando Calrissian and Oscar. No, it's Lando Norris.
Wait, what? We had a Star Wars crossover.
Yeah. What was it? What was it that the Millennium Falcon did it in 11 parsecs or something like that? I can't remember the phrase. Oh, God. Anyway. Because it's not measured in time, it's measured in distance. In a parsec, you can actually bisect the number of parsecs based on a path that Han Solo took and did it quicker than anybody else.
Less than 12 parsecs.
Less than 12 parsecs. Yeah, so that's what Lando Norris Calrissian did. Just kidding. His last name is not Calrissian. Anyway, Oscar Piastri is shoulder to shoulder with Red Bull's power duo, Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez. Dun, dun, dun. All right, let's keep going. The next article is over in Technology Today. This helium-filled aircraft broadcasts internet from the Stratosphere.
But is it faster?
Is it the same size as a Chinese surveillance bus? Is it bigger?
Does the GPS work?
Oh, by the way, people are getting bent out of shape about hydrogen-powered vehicles because they keep apparently saying all of the Hindenburg, but it wasn't the helium in it, or it wasn't the hydrogen in the right. Hindenburg itself.
It was something else, right?
It was the fact that it basically was coated in thermite, or the equivalent. It was basically like a solid rocket booster, holding all of that hydrogen in. And so a spark lit it up and the whole thing was
Oh, okay.
fuel.
But nobody knows enough, so they just think it's, oh, hydrogen is
Hydrogen.
the problem.
Yeah. But it wasn't just hydrogen. Hydrogen is a dangerous, flammable fuel, but so is the liquid sloshing around in your tanks. And it isn't protected even nearly as much as a hydrogen fuel cell, particularly the ones that are coming out of Toyota now, where you can just slide them in. And
Right. I mean, with gasoline-powered vehicles, all it takes is a bad crash to ignite it.
yep. So this article, please don't dox me, CNET. I like you. Don't make me ban you. Jesse Orrell over at cnet.com put this article together. We got an exclusive look inside. Is it Size?
Okay.
We're going to call it
I don't know.
Size hangar in Roswell, right next to the aliens.
It's got to be Sky.
Sky. Brilliant. You're so good at this. Here, you do the show.
And cut.
So a week before the company launched its balloon-like high-altitude platform system into the stratosphere. So CNET got to go and hang out at this. Oh, wow. Could they have paused this at any more inopportune moment? Cheeseburger.
Well, and also with the background, like you can barely see
Oh,
what
yeah.
it is, you know?
Yeah, it's a white and gray dome, and then there's this like silver lame outfitted blimp that apparently is going to be it says it wasn't a UFO, so that was easy pickings for me. So Sky, it was made by Sky to do work commonly performed by drones and satellites like Earth observation, providing internet access to underserved communities. And they say, unlike drones, we stay up. Okay, it's kind of funny. See, but I've talked about this a few times. I wrote a paper and did research into this, and it's really easy to actually rotate out drones. But if you can do this, yeah, sure. But this is susceptible to other things like, I don't know, weather.
Asteroids.
Oh, yeah, and meteorites. So unlike drones, we stay up, and unlike low Earth orbit satellites, we stay over the same area while they're passing by, but you can have geosynchronous orbit satellites. Let's not be silly about this, says Sky founder and CEO Mikkel Vestergaard Franzen. The only other thing that can do what we're doing is a geostationary satellite. Oh, I guess I need to read the whole article before I say. So geostationary satellites, however, operate much further away from Earth than Sky's HAPS. This means that Sky's stratospheric infrastructure can provide detailed Earth observations and beam internet directly to users' devices. Satellite-based internet infrastructure like Starlink, on the other hand, requires satellite dishes to access their services, which can cost hundreds of dollars, not to mention the environmental costs of launching all those satellites. So
is this something you'll have to sign up as a service for?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this won't just be like free internet or something like that. Starlink, for instance, you have an expensive satellite dish that you have to get, and there's a monthly fee, and you have numbnuts that's in control of your destiny. If you decide that, I don't know, maybe you think that they're not deserving of such praise, then maybe your internet will be impinged because big baby. Anyway.
Do you think this can be used in quiet zones?
I'm
guessing no, but
I wonder if broadcasting it into it would be illegal. First off, you'd have to be over it, and it's a no-fly zone, that particular quiet zone that you're talking about, because it's used for radio, satellite, or radio astronomy.
I'm assuming this would interfere in some way.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, it would be a big noise heat sink equivalent. So, all right, we're just going to move on because CNET. Anyway, The next article is over in the Marvel Channel. 4,000-year-old town discovered hidden in Arabian Oasis. The discovery of a 4,000-year-old fortified town hidden in an oasis in modern-day Saudi Arabia reveals how life at the time was slowly changing from a nomadic to an urban existence, archaeologists said on Wednesday. The article is over at phys.org. Pierre Salarier, I guess, put the article together. And I don't know how it says discovered hidden in Arabian Oasis when it looks like that.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it's on the top of a hill.
And it looks like it's right next to what might be modern building, right? Maybe this is because it's been researched for a while already and we're just now hearing about it. So the walled oasis of Khaybar, a fertile speck surrounded by desert in northwest Saudi Arabia, is pictured on, well, here, I'll just show y'all. Ta-da! But this looks like modern construction here, and that looks like it's a sign posting, like, stay the hell out of this unless you're a researcher or whatever. But then there's more back here. Something back here, around here. I find this really fascinating stuff because I think a lot of that region was scrubbed by water flow. But, you know, one way or another, there's evidence, say yay versus nay, another way. And I know you find whale bones that are
right, like not anywhere near the water.
Sitting.
I mean, the fact that it's very green in this area is already unusual.
It's kind of neat, right? Yeah, but that's an oasis for you. The remains of the town, dubbed Al-Natah, were long concealed by the walled oasis of Khaybar, a green and fertile speck surrounded by desert in the northwest of the Arabian Peninsula. Then an ancient 14.5 kilometer long wall was discovered at the site, according to research. What? They didn't notice that?
Apparently not, but maybe it's been excavated.
Oh, it was covered by, you know,
sediment,
all that sediment that just wafts all over everything. You know, if you stand still long enough, you, 6'2", sentient android or sentient AI from the future in your Terminator body, you will be just sedimented over because you didn't dust yourself off fast enough. Anyway, it was abandoned around 1,000 years ago, or 1,000 years later. The large town, which was home to up to 500 residents, was built around 2400 BC during the early Bronze Age by 500 people. You think 500 people built that? And what about all of this around the back and right there? This looks like property lines and stuff.
Okay, wait. There is a current town, but then there's an ancient town.
Right. That doesn't look like that doesn't look like a current town either. This looks like
correct.
Old walls.
I can't tell what's what, but yes.
Right? This looks like old broken down ancient whatever. This looks like ancient whatever. Maybe? Or is this the modern and underneath that is the ancient? Hell.
I don't know.
Guess I'm just going to have to go and see it for myself. So northwest Arabia at the time was thought to have been barren desert, crossed by pastoral nomads and dotted with burial sites. That was until 15 years ago when archaeologists discovered ramparts dating back to the Bronze Age in the oasis of Tema to Khaybar's north. Okay, the first essential discovery led scientists to look closer at these oases. Well, yeah, where there's fresh water, you're going to find civilization of some kind.
Right, you would have had civilizations develop.
Black volcanic rocks called basalt, really, concealed the walls of Al-Nada so well that it protected the site from illegal excavations. How? If you walk up on a hill, you see everything. They discovered foundations strong enough to easily support at least 1 or 2-story homes, Charlot said, emphasizing that there is much more work to be done to understand the site. So this is the actual thing, right?
Okay, well then that goes back to your original question, like how was that hidden?
So this is the walled oasis of Kabar, and they found the remains of an ancient town hidden underneath the walled oasis of Kabar.
Oh, okay. So what we can see in the picture was already known, but there's stuff below it.
Underneath it. Amazing, right? So they just built right on top of it. That happens. All
Right,
of
which we
this.
do see a lot.
Yeah, very interesting. And we just don't know what we don't know. I really wish that everybody would just allow everybody, researchers, to go in and actually perform the function of finding out our historical record, right? What is the story of humanity? Quit being such protectionist shits. Anyway, for example, fortified oases could have been in contact with each other in an area still largely populated by pastoral nomadic groups. Such exchanges could have even laid the foundations for incense route, which saw spices, frankincense, and myrrh traded from the southern Arabia to the Mediterranean. Yes, how biblical.
Those may have been popular spices during that time.
Yes, spices, which is mentioned here. So why break out frankincense and myrrh? All right, let's move
Somebody's
on.
trying to give it some more pizzazz.
Yeah, give a little oomph. Oh, that's back. Is that back for you when you look at the front page?
I'll check here.
It might be in the cache, but because I've been purging images. So hotel guest makes hilarious, quote unquote, unusual request and staff delivers. The guest told Newsweek, I thought there was a slim chance that it would actually happen. Actually forgot until we arrived. The article is over at newsweek.com by Sue Kim. Woman travels for work, gets unhinged hotel room. I don't know if that has anything to actually do with the article.
Yeah, I don't know that it does.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So the post shows an image of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air star on a marble-style round table next to a piece of cake and some drinks.
Okay, now wait a second. This is not the main star of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Correct. So Alfonso Ribeiro. So Johnson booked into the historic SAS Royal Hotel in Copenhagen, Denmark, now known as the Radisson Collection Royal Hotel, on her 55th birthday. A caption shared with the viral post says, I asked for an 8x10 of Alfonso in my room months ago, and they did it. Best birthday ever.
Okay, that's a pretty random request, and I'm surprised that they accommodated it. But I guess hotels will pretty much, if it's feasible.
Okay, that's just, honestly, it's awesome. I really love this kind of stuff when everybody is cool about it. So, I don't know. They seem like they would be fun to have a drink with, right? I thought there was a slim chance that it would happen and actually forgot until we arrived, she said, adding that she laughed for 10 minutes straight upon seeing the photograph in the room. The SAS Hotel was designed by the late Danish architect in 1960, I guess. First opening in 1960. The building was designed as a sleek rectangular volume whose only ornamentation is the grid structure of the light curtain wall exteriors and the large glazed sections that mirror the movements of the clouds in the sky, the designer's official website notes. So I guess that's it right there. That looks more like an office building than a hotel.
It really does. It does not look like a hotel.
Pretty wild. Yeah. Apparently they say who is also known for the egg chair. They don't have a picture of the egg chair though. I think I've seen
No,
that.
but I think that's a famous design.
Johnson, who moved to San Diego in 1990 and lived there for 19 years, began working for a digital marketing agency startup in 1996, answering phones, and became the operations director 5 years later. When she moved to Sweden, her job became remote, which was unheard of in 2009. No, it wasn't. She said, I've been doing it in one form or another since, gosh, how long?
Before then.
Let's just say before then. Yeah, it's been a while. So among the highlights of her one-night stay for a tour of room 606, which has been restored to the original design, Johnson said that she originally wanted a corner room, but the hotel receptionist talked us out of getting a nicer room, and I don't know why until we got there and saw the cake and photo of Alfonso. Oh, so they're like, please don't move because everything is where it needed to be. That's pretty funny. King-size bed, modern bathroom, heated floors, best view of the city they've ever seen. Neat. That's pretty cool. Yay, SAS or Radisson, whatever you want to call yourselves.
Exactly. Thanks for having a sense of humor, like actually going with it and not just saying, no, we can't do that.
We are starchy. Okay, let's move on. Next article is over in Technology Today. Projects include, NASA's cutting-edge space experiments launching on 31st SpaceX resupply mission. Projects include NASA JPL-managed quantum communication experiment known as Seek. We'll just call it Seek. NASA is set to launch a series of new science experiments to the ISS aboard its SpaceX 31st commercial resupply mission. Isn't the ISS supposed to get punted?
Yeah, pretty soon.
Like next year, isn't it?
I think it has like 5 more years.
Oh, really? I thought it was 2025 that they were supposed to decommission it.
2030.
Oh, 2030. Oh, okay. So yeah, you're right. 5 years. Good job. So the 6 experiments are designed to support cutting-edge research by NASA scientists and teams. The article is over at scitechdaily.com.
Look, and it's BB-8.
With a hat. JPL put the article together. Let's see what else is in here. Developing firefighting techniques in microgravity. Yikes. Can you imagine trying to put out a fire in space with zero gravity?
No, that sounds a little alarming. And how would you prevent a wildfire? Because what's going to stop it?
Oh my gosh. Among the experiments on board are studies focusing on putting out fires in space, testing quantum communication, analyzing antibiotic-resistant bacteria because ISS actually has weird stuff growing on its walls and a tomato might still be floating around somewhere, investigating health issues like blood clotting and inflammation in astronauts. We actually talked months ago actually about this new gel that you can squirt and it expands and clots blood, like big massive blood flow. So maybe they're doing that with astronaut samples and stuff, and exploring plant growth by cultivating romaine lettuce and moss in microgravity conditions. Which way does
what could go wrong?
Bad bat.
It's like kudzu all over again.
So they talk about this firefighting. I'm sure that they talk about the rest of it, but I'm not going to get into all of it. You can follow the link through ohmTown over to SciTech Daily. But this one, putting out a fire in space requires a unique approach to prioritize the safety of the spacecraft environment and crew. Okay, that's an assumption I think everybody should just grasp onto real quick.
I would agree, but there is definitely a difference. On Earth, people might be able to, I don't know, run away from the fire.
Open a door.
Right.
Go stand in the yard.
Oh, less likely here.
Hey, I opened a door on the ISS and it's really cold out here. I hear a sucking sound and I feel like I'm dehydrating. I don't understand what's going on. And research from the experiment could strengthen our understanding of the beginning stages of fire growth and behavior, which will assist in building and developing more resilient space establishments and creating better plans for fire suppression in space. Massive vacuums, as long as the person puts on a mask so that they can breathe, evacuating all of the oxygen as fast as possible would probably be the best bet to putting out a fire. And then you can go and use something
like recirculate or something
that can suppress anything that might be smoldering or reignite when you start putting a more oxygen-rich environment back in place, because they're using oxygen scrubbers and stuff like that, but it's, if I recall correctly, it's a higher oxygen level than Earth. It's not exactly the same. But I think this stuff is kind of amazing. This is the solid fuel ignition and extinction fire safety experiment inside the ISS.
Okay, and doesn't that make you wonder how they conduct that experiment? Because if you need to work on fire suppression, it would sound like you need to start a fire.
It's got to be inside this little container. And like they start it up and then they have a really micronized version of whatever it is they're going to do so that you can put it out. But I mean, evacuating all of the air is really the best way. And because you can't use liquids, it's going to be rolling around all over the place. You don't want to get
Exactly, and you can't have the fire
chemical either.
like spreading around, right? Not contained because it's just moving around. That's odd.
Gets in the walls or something and melts the outside.
Finds that loose tomato.
But grilled tomatoes are really good if you can eat them before they get sucked out of a hole into a vacuum. So our last article for today is over in Technology Today. Get in the picture. High-tech portal is a visual delight for those entering Seattle office building. Bob Mueller, Wright, and Chris Ward of Lightspeed Design stand in the portal, the fighting portal, in an immersive artistic entry that they developed for One Union Square, a downtown Seattle office building. So GeekWire is actually focused in the Northwest, specifically the Seattle area, I think. And so Kurt Schlosser over at geekwire.com put the article together. And it's basically like Las Vegas, that street, whatchamacallit street? Oh, I keep forgetting the name of the street where it has all of the lights and stuff like that. It's like a mini Las Vegas sphere, really. Like the ceiling and walls are lit up. So stepping into work never looked this good. Yeah, it does. Hell yeah, it does. It looks this good.
Is it Fremont Street?
Fremont Street, yeah. So a digital moment of Zen has taken shape at a downtown Seattle office building using cutting-edge technology and AI tools to showcase iconic photography from the Pacific Northwest. The portal is a new 180-degree art-filled entryway at the redeveloped lobby of One Union Square, a 36-story skyscraper built in 1981. Whenever I hear about modernizing a skyscraper, all I think about is that Florida building. Yeah. Because it's built to a certain code, and unless they went and looked at all of the framework, if you modernize it, it's with heavier materials that weren't accounted for. And
Surfside. I couldn't think of the name of it. I wanted to say Seaside.
But it was one of the two buildings. It started with a C, though, something Surfside. But anyway. So the portal is 14 feet high, 42 feet wide, with walls and ceilings lined with 248 high-resolution LED panels that offer super high image resolution. For comparison, the high-end HD TV performs at 4K, while the portal, Champlain Towers. Yep. So the portal offers the equivalent of 13K wide, maintaining color and sharpness from any angle around the entryway. So pretty darn cool. Look at that. Basically, it's an LED wall, but on the ceiling and then bouncing down to one of the walls. I don't know about the perimeter side, but it says it's 180 degrees, right? Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool. I mean, people don't necessarily want to be coming into the office, so this might be something to at least start them off on the right foot.
That's right. Until they use AI and it puts up pictures of you like doing a keg stand at a party over the weekend and says that you're late or you're fired or...
Right, that probably wouldn't be quite as inviting.
Lightspeed previously worked with the Space Needle to enhance a live New Year's Eve fireworks display with a layer of augmented reality effects. That's pretty cool. Oh no, this is a pretty cool company. I like it. At one point, an aerial image shot high over Lake Union zooms way in on some of the houseboats and people swimming below, creating surprisingly sharp subcomponents of the main image. Mostly it's enhancing what's there and interpolating a blob into a smaller, sharper blob, said Lightspeed art director Bob Mueller. Quote, it doesn't know what it's looking at for the most part, but it knows through millions of images that it's been trained on that what kind of a blob should have looked like. So they're talking about the AI that's used in it. Pretty cool. It's not actually a competition with people. I think people view AI in this suspicious manner in the creative community. I agree. They really do. It should be treated as a tool. And Washington Holdings has invested more than $120 million in upgrades to tenant-facing spaces of 1 and 2 Union Square, and the current renovation of 1 Union is by Seattle-based architecture firm GGLO. So they're doing development, and a lot of this is talking about what's going on inside and outside the buildings, but that's not why we're here. I just wanted to see the pictures of this kind of cool tech.
Absolutely. I wonder if this will take off at other locations. I mean, this is pretty pricey. Not everybody can do this, of course.
Yeah, I would estimate that that is a cool $250,000 display unless it was donated. And that's not even the other equipment, just the display. Because I've asked a company for a LED wall behind me, and it's really pricey. Really, really pricey. And I'm not making those YouTube bucks or Twitch bucks. Anyway, right on. Pretty cool. I like that. What do you think? Do we want to get that?
I think we need it in ohmTown.
I think so too. We could do like a sphere all the way around me, the floor, the walls, the ceiling, and like not all of the walls for the studio. I mean, that wall over there, nobody ever sees. So we'll save money there.
That wouldn't really be necessary.
Right. But then I could throw images anywhere on here. Talk about green screen. It would be a cinematic marvel in here.
It'd be like a green screen IMAX.
It would be. Yeah. In an inverted sphere. You would be inside the sphere. Oh my God. Like actually like flip the sphere inside out. That way the whole thing is programmable. Not because you can't right now where the seats are.
But okay.
With my vision, the whole thing would be dun, dun, dun. Anyway, that's it, folks. That is Non Sequitur News for November 3rd, 2024. I am Mayor Watt, and the sentient AI is going to sing us off as we reboot the 180-degree image of the stream.
Good night, ohmTown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Non Sequitur News. Be back tomorrow for another episode.
See you in a little bit. Bye-bye. If anybody has an extra, $180,000 LED wall that they want to donate to ohmTown, yeah, just contact the mayor at ohmtown.com.